I just feel like I've been around the block, ripping up fantasy stock, working around the clock. Look at the view from the top. Researching rookies a lot? No, I just be listening to pods. Yeah, one in particular, I'm just a messenger. Let me just pass on the rock. Browning, brunning, pruning, pronouncing ain't what he's doing. What he's doing is not losing, but infusing you with new things. And there's Dennis the Bennett, yeah. The man is a menace, yeah. Building a dynasty, some of the finest things. Promise you, you won't regret it. Slice a fox, cultured in pop. Give him his props. Here is a thought, here is a box, and you cannot compare them at all. So don't even try. Careful with the news, but when you use a take, I take up Tony Fire. I mean Dyer, because anyone else is a huge mistake. Whoa, fantasy round table, fantasy round table, yeah. Fantasy round table, come take a look at the crown, baby. Hey, fantasy round table, fantasy round table, woo. Fantasy round table, come take a look at the crown, baby. Go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Football Roundtable podcast, brought to you by the Pigskin Podcast Network. You can find them at PigskinPodNet on Twitter, or you can search the hashtag TPPN. We have got our live draft going on right now for the Listener League. We are about 9 picks in. I'm about to be on the clock, but we've got some NFL news to talk about before we dive into what's going on with the draft. Matt, Mckenzie to you. Since the last we've been here, Brian Robinson was unfortunately shot, but it does seem like everything is going to be okay with him moving forward.
Yeah, they did put him on the PUP list, which is a little bit of a bummer, so he'll miss the first 4 weeks. But I take it that it's better than it could be. It was nice to see him back in the building. It's probably good news for Antonio Gibson and those who roster him, at least at the beginning. He gets a shot to hopefully show what he's doing.
It was a tough break because from all indications, they were looking to have him kind of take over the starting running back spot from Antonio Gibson. So it was a tough break. And I think he'll be back after 4 or 5 weeks. You just have to work himself back in shape with the because he was shot in the glute and in the lower leg. So once he gets back in shape, I think he'll get the opportunity that Ron Rivera seemed to want to give him.
Yeah, he should. The great thing is that he is healthy and going to be back just fine. We'll see how soon he's able to get onto the field, hopefully, obviously sooner rather than later. Laviska Shenault, Dennis, has been traded to the Panthers. Does this matter at all for Dynasty?
Well, according to Baker Mayfield, Laviska Shenault is really big. I don't know if it matters. I mean, there are times when players move into new situations and flourish. I think we're looking at that with Jalen Reagor as well as with Laviska Shenault. Shenault does have what's he got? Shi Smith, Robbie Anderson, and Rashard Higgins ahead of him. Maybe they use him the way that Rivera used to use, or the way they use CMC with some special stuff. So, we'll see.
All right. And that's probably all that we've got here. I mean, season kicks off on Thursday. We should be talking a lot about that moving forward. Hopefully everything has been cleared schedule-wise for us. This was a crazy last couple days for me. So we'll be back Wednesday, Matt, to preview the Thursday night game.
And our playoff picks.
Oh, yeah, okay. So we'll have playoff picks and then the Thursday preview, and then obviously we'll be here Friday as our usual show, or probably biggest show that is going to be every single week, as we will typically recap the Thursday night game and then preview every single game moving forward, except for, we'll probably touch on the Monday Night Football game since I won't be here before, typically won't be there. So I'll give my pick on Monday to kind of give you guys an idea of where I'm leaning on the Monday Night Football game. But we are currently doing our Listener League draft right now. We are currently in round 2, about to hit the turn and swing around into round 3 here. So I'm going to give you guys the first couple picks. It is, Matt, why don't you give us the breakdown of what the league actually is, and then we can talk about what the picks are.
So it's a super flex league, 12 teams. We start quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, 2
Shit,
flex,
third round reversal. Hold on.
and yeah, a third round reversal. It's about to go. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot I was dropping up here. No one's ready for any of this. We included third round reversal if you've played Scott Fishbowl or some of the other industry events. We have those. What ended up being kind of fun, depending on how you do it, is you and Ricky and Matt and me are back to back to back. So that should make it pretty fun. But we have a good group of folks in there, and I'm excited to see how it shakes out. It is super flex, so that'll make things interesting, as you'll see in a minute. I will work on sharing my screen here in a minute. Almost entirely quarterbacks in the first round.
Yeah, I definitely went with a different strategy than I usually do here in the first round, but I figure it's a listener league. Might as well try and kind of have a little bit of fun with it. So I'm intrigued to see how the rest of this goes. But I don't hate my first couple picks, so I'm kind of excited for it. So I'm going to pull this up. Matt, I'm going to let you handle this for a second. I'm having issues with my camera. I want to pull myself off the screen here really quick.
You look fantastic, man.
Oh, I know, but it's bothering me with the way that it's positioned here.
We'll just put the draft up full screen so that the people can see it. Let me drop this. I will start taking on my phone. We just did the third round reversal. So as you can see, those who were at the end are now at the beginning, about halfway through. Dennis, what did you think of round one?
I like the pick of Christian McCaffrey at 104. There's a lot of people who don't have the guts to make that pick because they're so afraid of injuries. But they're going robust running back out of the 104 with McCaffrey, Barkley, and Jones. I'm not sure what happened with Bro Namath. He was here chatting, and then he's gone. But he's on auto, and he started with Lamar Jackson, Travis Kelce, and Matt Stafford. So he's locked down a couple real good quarterbacks and arguably the top tight end for fantasy.
Yeah, and I know a couple of people were trying to get back up at the top to try to be part of that third round reversal, and it didn't quite happen. There weren't as many trades, I think, because a lot of us were happy with our draft slots. Although Matt and I back to back, I told Dennis off air, but there are 3 Matts in this draft. Yeah. You, me, and my friend Matt Kalish, and we are back to back there at the end. Apparently, if your name was Matt, you had to go in consecutive series at the end of the draft.
Well, no offense to Malibu Matt, but I don't love what he's doing right now. I mean, I guess you zag when others zag, but the quarterback pool, I think, is getting fairly limited really quick. But it's an interesting start with Najee, Cooper Kupp, and Devontae Adams. If he's still able at least to get one decent quarterback, I think he's going to be fine. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm about to make my 4th pick. I'm very interested to see who's available there to me. I don't necessarily hate my start, though. It's been intriguing. Let's see here. Oh, shoot, I'm up. We should have done a better job of making this start before the stream and then not have a minute. I feel so stressed out trying to make my pick. I feel like I don't have enough time.
That was the whole point of doing it, to watch us. This is what it's really like to draft with us. If we're in person and we're doing this. I don't know. I went Justin Fields with my 4th pick. A little bit off schedule, maybe a little bit early, but my thought was, watching him late in the preseason, he started to put it together, and there's some talk that Montgomery isn't a great fit for that offensive scheme. We'll see what happens. They've got Velus Jones, they've got Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet, and Khalil Herbert, so they do have some weapons. It's all going to come down to the offensive line.
Damn you, Matt.
That's all right. I just sniped both Matts on both of my picks because as soon as I picked two of my friend Matt sitting here, he looked at me with dead eyes, and I knew you would take Pittman if I didn't.
I wanted Pittman. I was really hoping to go Keenan Allen Pittman, so I'm going to double up running back here. Yeah, so, I mean, I've started out. I guess we could give the people some of the way that we've attacked our draft so far and then talk about some of this. I went it is super flex. I typically don't double tap quarterback, but I decided to do it just to see what happens here. I mean, if I win, great. If not, it's not like we put $1,000 in on this league or anything like that. It's also a very sharp league. I think a lot of the people in this league,
You didn't
I
get
know
the memo about the $1,000.
I did not, but it's good to know that now. That's all right. We'll just, I'll get Austin to expense it to campus to Canton and say, it's a business expense. No, it's a lot of sharp people in here, so I wanted to test some different theories out on this. So I decided to double tap quarterback out of the 10 spot. Got Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, and then as Matt and Dennis mentioned earlier, it is a third round reversal, so it came right back around to me. And then I went Swift, Keenan Allen, and then Zeke. I did want Pittman right there. Had Pittman fallen, I would have taken him and have been really happy with the Keenan Allen, Michael Pittman stack there at wide receiver. But I figured, why not grab my running back 2 and Zeke? I didn't love some of the other wide receivers available right there. I think we're about to hit a dead zone and running back as well. So I was like, I'll just take a guy that I think could be a high-end RB2, low-end RB1, and just kind of pair him with Zeke. Matt, what was your kind of thought process on going through your first couple picks here? You were picking out of the 11th spot.
Yeah, well, I figured if I didn't take Russell Wilson, that the person behind me would certainly have done it because I already threatened that. And then coming back around, I was thinking about getting running back, but when I saw Jamar Chase there, I had to go with that. I thought that was a good upside. We do start 3 wide receivers. Then I got my boy Javonte when I came back, was able to get Tua there at the end so that I have a couple of quarterbacks. And then obviously Pittman, you and I are pretty high on him. Dennis was pretty high on him too. I think he's in for a top 10 wide receiver season.
It's going to be interesting coming up. We're in round 6 and we've got 2 managers who have both gone 0 QB. So each of them have started running back, wide receiver. So they didn't go for one of the elite tight ends, and they haven't went for quarterback yet. Townhouse will be up here in the next pick after this one. We'll see if they break the trend and go quarterback yet.
I mean, it's definitely an interesting strategy because you're, at least in my opinion, in a super flex format, you're not going to win if you don't have at least one good quarterback. So I think it's very interesting that at least one of them hasn't. He just passed, I believe, was Allen Robinson. So, I mean, Allen Robinson's a great wide receiver 3 to have, but you're about to be starting possibly Baker Mayfield and someone else as your quarterbacks is not great for that part of things. The other one did not go in as well.
Truther.
He went Gabriel Davis. So everybody knows that this is Superflex, right? I just want to double check.
So I heard Caravans just sniped me on Elijah Mitchell, who was my target right there.
Well, he is a huge 49ers fan, so hardly a surprise to see him go for Elijah Mitchell. He's definitely drafting his guys because he's big on CeeDee Lamb and he's big on Travis Etienne too, as we saw in the mock draft that we did earlier.
I went with Dobbins. I think he may start off slow, but I think after about week 4 or 5, J.K. Dobbins is going to have a fantastic year.
Jerry Jeudy. Very nice.
It wasn't what I wanted, but I guess God is God.
Yeah, not what I wanted either in Marquise Hollywood Brown, but, do what you got to do. All right, so let's talk about that. I mean, let's keep on the 2 with no quarterbacks here. So, I mean, it's definitely an interesting start for, I can't see the name here. I'm trying to pull it up on my phone. For Town, I don't know what the name is. Townhouse, there we go. It's not what is popping up on my phone. I did not want to read what is popped up on my phone because that would not be. Let's just say all I have on my phone is missing the U.S. and E, so it's Town something else. You start out. Go ahead and read it, Max. I'm about to make my pick, and we can discuss the strategy here.
Yeah, so Townhouse so far took Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Aaron Jones, does 3 RBs in the first 3 rounds, and then has followed up with 3 receivers, A.J. Brown, Mike Williams, Allen Robinson. Got to like the depth and like the players selected at that position, but it will be interesting to see how long he waits to go for a quarterback.
So now I just got sniped by Ricky and Darnell Mooney. Damn it, Janet. I was really hoping
And then Wilson 27's the other one. Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette. Then he has Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, and Gabriel Davis.
Oh, and then goddamn
Is-
it, Malibu.
So,
Malibu
I mean,
Matt took A.J. Dillon from me.
it'll be interesting. So, I guess of the quarterbacks you see that are left, which one would be the one that you would feel the best about if they were your quarterback one?
Honestly, none of them. Maybe Matt Ryan. I mean,
Ryan's
like,
gone.
did he just go?
No, he's gone a couple rounds ago.
Oh, okay. I thought he was still available. Then none of them really. Like, I guess
I'm
Ryan
going to say
Tannehill.
Jameis, who just went, was probably the best of on that. I know
you're
still
out on
don't know
Tannehill, but
well, I don't know that. I know people think that Tannehill's safe, but I don't know if he keeps his
I
job all
don't.
year.
Malik Willis is playing this year. I mean, I could be wrong. I've seen front offices make dumber decisions, but I would be very surprised if Malik Willis supplants Ryan Tannehill this year. I mean, with a rushing upside, I think he does have a shot to finish, probably no lower than QB 15. So he is one that I would go for. They're just going all in on the no QB strategy.
No QB. And so Juju and then Rashad Bateman. So both of them have 4 receivers, 3 running backs. It's an interesting well, actually, Wilson made a trade. Wilson has a quarterback. You're missing the so he and John flopped in the 3rd round. He has Derek Carr.
Okay, well, that's not too bad.
Townhouse is the only one that I see
without
that doesn't have a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, of the quarterbacks left, I think you end up gambling and aiming for a 3 quarterback build at the maybe even 4 with guys like Wentz and Mills, Mariota, Zach Wilson, Baker Mayfield.
Maybe one of these guys has to roll the dice on Deshaun Watson, who you're not going to have at the beginning of the season, but could end up.
Yeah.
Well, the question is how far out of it you are by the time QBs come up.
Probably pretty far out. I don't know. It's an intriguing strategy to me. It's not something I would do. Like, I get taking one, and then just if you really don't want to have a high end upside QB2, punting the rest and taking a Baker Mayfield, Zach Wilson. Even if you take one of those guys and then grab Deshaun Watson late and hope he's a guy for you throughout the playoffs. I actually kind of like that strategy if that's what you want to do. Not having a quarterback at all, like that, we've seen that matters in Superflex. Like, I love talking about how much QB2s matter when it comes to Superflex, but they only matter to like QB 15. Typically, you're not winning a league if you don't have a top 2, at least one top 15 QB, and I think you still need to have 2 because that Superflex position it's such a massive value. I mean, if you look at a team like whoever pick 1 was, I can't see what that is, Buffalo something. I mean, having Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers, that's a massive advantage for you every single week. You have likely the highest scoring quarterback and at least probably a top 12, top 10 option as well, getting you points. I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers is going to outscore most of the wide receivers you have that you're going to play in your super flex position. Oh, this is just a horrible spot. I do not like any of these players.
One of them is going to be a treasure on your team.
Pat Freiermuth. I don't like that pick at all.
Yeah, I think at that point, Matt, I'd have been waiting probably 3 or 4 or 5 more rounds at least for a tight end.
Well, I don't love any of the picks on the board. I'm not reaching for anybody. Like, none of these wide receivers stand out to me. I still don't love the fact I'm about to have to take one here.
Running backs.
Yeah, you got Javonte.
You got Javonte Williams. There you go.
See, and some people grabbing their backups already at running back, at quarterback. Now you're looking at these guys are really going to be sitting with like almost nobody. I don't know who to take here.
Take a quarterback.
But no, I wanted to grab at least one wide receiver.
Did you say Alan Lazard is questionable for week 1? I can't think of a worse situation for Green Bay's pass offense.
He'll be fine. He was questionable like every week last year, and he still played. He's fine. Everybody's questionable in the NFL nowadays with the injuries. There's no real, like, everybody's perfectly healthy. So who else can we talk about here? Let's talk about team number 1. I just mentioned there. I really need to get these names pulled up on my phone here.
Buffalo Shoes.
Buffalo Shoes here. So started off Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and
it's not Buffalo's hoe.
That's not what I was going to. Yeah, I know that. It just says Buffalo on my phone. So like it's hard to find the names because it's just giving me like part of it. But Buffalo Shoes goes Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, James Conner, Debo Samuel, Deontay Johnson, David Montgomery, Chase Edmonds, Elijah Moore. He's actually about to make back-to-back picks, so we can talk more about his team here.
Townhouse just got his QB1.
That's a horrible QB1. We can talk about that in a minute. Let's just be honest.
My friend Matt just said kind of.
Yeah, no, it is. That's bad.
Well,
no, kind of a QB1.
Who's going to snipe Tyrod Taylor from him?
Nobody. I don't really care.
Why
Christian
would you roster Tyrod? He's injured.
Who else is he going to take? Because we can talk about what this team looks like. Again, start 3 wide receivers. So I think that's why everybody's going so heavy on wide receivers. And there goes the other best probably quarterback on the board there in Ryan Tannehill. So
I mean, if you're Townhouse, you got to double down and get a second quarterback here right now, right? Because Mac Jones or Carson Wentz is probably, if you go beyond that, you're having to take 2 for 1 just to get a quarterback, because I don't know that you can feel confident. I mean, I guess Davis Mills is out there, but if I'm taking Mariota, I'm not confident he starts all season.
No, he went Kareem Hunt. So maybe he's just going with the 1 QB and playing.
Well, Wilson only has 1 QB too. It is super flex, so you don't have to play 2 quarterbacks.
But it matters when you're playing.
It does matter. Like, the scoring is definitely in favor of quarterbacks.
When you're looking at someone starting a Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, a Matt Stafford and Lamar Jackson, I'm trying to look at Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields, like who is that? Joe Burrow and Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa and Russell Wilson. Like, those teams immediately have an edge. I don't care how good your running backs and wide receivers are. They have an edge because of the points that those quarterbacks can put up.
So Wilson grabs Mac Jones. So he has Derek Carr and Mac Jones. It's not a bad combo. But then Carson Wentz goes off the board. So the QB2 option for Townhouse is going to be fascinating. Drew Lock's going to be out there for you, guy.
It's going to be rough. Just to be honest.
Little Geno Smith.
I do not know what I want to do. I don't like any of these picks. I hate my team already.
It wouldn't be a draft if you didn't hate your team halfway through.
I have a feeling I'm not going to like it regardless after what happens, but...
Yeah, I'm not digging the options I have.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I did not do a good job of preparing ahead of time to, build up a queue or anything like that. So we're just doing it.
Preparations for the week.
I agree, but now I'm kind of wishing I at least built out some kind of queue, because I just don't like my options at all. And I'm like scrolling through really fast to see if I can find anybody I don't like or that I like more that's not sitting near the top of these lists. And because sleeper ADP, I'm sorry, I don't necessarily trust that much. So
no, its ADP is definitely a little bit strange. It's sad. Wide receiver got kind of depressing in a hurry too.
Yep. Oh, I know where I'm going. Assuming Matt doesn't snipe me.
There's a lot.
Why don't you tell the people where you're going? I've still got 45 seconds to hear.
I'm trying to grab a sleeper wide receiver, but I don't want to say because I need them.
There's a lot of talk about, you hear about the RB dead zone, but I think this year there's definitely a wide receiver dead zone, because we're kind of here, in round 10 or 11.
Yes. I lied. I wanted Tyler Algier.
And you
really hoping you wouldn't go running back.
There's like a whole group of
Tyler Algier wasn't on the radar.
Hey, that's fine. That's all I wanted.
It's weird. It doesn't seem like he's got a very set spot in Atlanta right now.
I think he's going to be fine. He's going to be the goal line back. That's all I need from him. Just get me a touchdown and 50 yards every week. I just want 11 points out of him. That's all I'm asking. I think I can get that.
So Davis Mills is off the board. If Townhouse goes quarterback, his options are now Zach Wilson, Mariota, Trubisky. I mean, you could do Brissett. You could do Geno Smith. I think at that point in time, I might actually play a position player over like Jacoby Brissett or
I think
Geno
you
Smith.
have to. If you're really believing in, Jacoby Brissett, like I'd rather play Kareem Hunt, who he drafted just a round ago. Like, I think at that point you've just got to.
Oh, there you go. He's hanging in there. Now maybe you come back and take Brissett and do the 2 for 1, and you have.
But that's such a wasted pick in the 12th round, in my opinion. I mean, I know you've
Well,
got
I mean,
to
in the
now. I feel
11th
like
round, you took a QB2 you aren't
Yeah.
going to have for 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I know. I know. I'm just saying, like, I think he's gonna have to. I don't know that. Maybe you play a game of chicken, see if you can make it a round or two, and nobody will take him. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not looking to take him. I don't care. Like, there's a certain point. I know it's super flex, and everybody wants to have two quarterbacks. There's a certain point where, like, it's not worth rostering that other quarterback. Like, we're at the point in the draft now where enough of the other quarterbacks, like, I'd even be willing to start in a bye week, are gone. I'm probably not going to grab a third quarterback. It's just not worth it. I'm not going to waste a roster spot on a quarterback that's likely just sitting on my bench all year because I'm not going to play him. Or where are they at? They're 2 picks away, so we'll see what they do. I'm very intrigued to see. Oof, KJ Hamler, that's early. Well, I guess we're in the 12th round. I don't know. I think that's early. Marcus Mariota. So there you go. So now he's got his QB2 up until Deshaun Watson is hopefully able to come back in Mariota.
Yeah, Mariota was my pick right here. That one hurt. This has not been.
Because you only have 2. So
and I'm high on Mariota this year to outperform his draft spot.
you can take the Falcons' real QB1, Desmond Ritter.
Really quick. Is this tied in premium?
No.
Okay.
Because you started.
I should have known that, and I wouldn't have taken Pat Fryer. No, I was debating on taking another tight end. Most of the other ones I'm in are tied in premium. So that's what I was asking. I wasn't 100% sure. Oh, man. We're still in a really, really bad area of players here.
Yeah, it's
I was wrong. It is tight end premium.
No! What? Right after I make my pick. That's fine.
It's just 0.5.
That's not that much.
I had to go look. Well, it was a long time. You know what? I think you're the one that put tight end premium in. That's what happens when you have 3 people that have commission powers.
Let's go. It's all good. It's all good. It's cool. I can wait. There's like 4 tight ends I want. I can wait another round. Oh, I don't know what to do.
It is kind of a weird spot.
It really is. I don't like it at all. I feel like I would have preferred to be at the front of the draft.
My body tells me I won't draft a Chiefs player, so I guess that kind of limits my options.
Is it about to be? Did you take Gainwell? Nice. Okay. So
yeah, there's a chance Gainwell.
Let's talk about somebody else's team here. I feel like we've kind of talked a lot about Townhouse.
Should we talk about what the computer has given Ricky?
Oh, is he not drafting?
He forgot. He just sent me a text. He's like, "Have we started yet?" Like, yeah, we have.
Well, that's not good.
So it gave him Joe Burrow. I think he put some preferences in earlier because we were talking about it. Because Joe Burrow, he's really high on. Gets Derrick Henry, which that made me laugh because he really is not a
Derrick
huge.
Henry.
He's not a huge Tennessee person.
Okay.
And then you got Dak Prescott. So there's a couple of good quarterbacks. Breece Hall, first rookie off the board. Then his first wide receiver, T. Higgins, Darren Waller at tight end, Darnell Mooney, which was a bummer for Dennis. Then he gets Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Michael Thomas, Treylon Burks, Robert was a whole bunch of Tennessee offensive players. I can't wait to see the reaction. Then he gets Gesicki and Sky Moore. So a couple of tight end options. It's interesting to be invested that heavily in the Titans offense. I'm not a huge believer in the Titans offense this year.
No, and it sounds like he isn't either. So I'm sure he's not really going to love that. I mean, I get like, I still think Robert Woods, especially that late, I mean, in 11th round, I still think there's a shot that he is the wide receiver 1 in Tennessee, and those guys have for the most part.
I think he's definitely the wide receiver 1 in Tennessee. Burks is so far not even a starter. It's Nick Westbrook-Ikini is lining up there. I like your Njoku pick. I think you and I both kind of went with our homer tight ends for tight end 2, but guys that have some upside. I like Alberto, especially with Dulcich. He missed almost all of
we're almost
camp.
done already?
Yeah, I'm very high on Njoku, and Kittle fall into me where he did. I just couldn't pass up on him, but Njoku would have been a target of mine if they didn't have the same bye week.
Yeah, I'm really high on Njoku. I was listening to, I want to say it was It may have been John Hansen in the morning one day, and they had on, I don't remember his name, but he's very popular, does a lot of stuff in the Cleveland area. I think he's their new color analyst on the broadcast. And he was talking about everything they've talked about with Stefanski is they're planning on making Njoku a focal point of the passing offense this offseason or
Dennis,
this year.
why couldn't you have mentioned looking at bye weeks earlier?
I never look at bye weeks, so I have no idea how bad mine are.
I didn't either, but apparently whoever's playing me week 9, I salute you.
Yeah, I haven't looked at mine. I've got a couple in 9 and a bunch in 14, so that's not great.
Wow, 14. That's going to be a brutal if you make the playoffs.
Is it 14 or 13? 14?
No, they are going to week 14 with buys, so it's definitely possible.
Okay, I've got a couple in 14, a couple in 13, a couple in 9. But yeah, they're planning on making him a focal point of the offense. They feel like he's continued to get better and better, which I believe as well. So yeah, I figured why not? It was either going to be him or Cole Kmet, and then Cole Kmet wins. So I was like, well, I'll just take David Njoku now and kind of roll with it. Oh, no, he didn't go, actually. Did he? No, he went out.
No, I was going to say, he was there. I thought that's who you were targeting for tight end.
I got to have one Cleveland Brown on my team. I'm going to watch him every Sunday, so.
Jacoby Brissett's still floating out there. You don't have to limit yourself to one. Dearness Johnson, still available.
I'm good. I almost took Chubb. And then I was like, give me DeAndre Swift. It was a tough choice, but I love me some Nick Chubb. I have a lot of shares of Nick Chubb, so I figured. I really don't know who I want to go with here. So no defenses, no kickers. Am I reading this correctly?
Yes, no defenses, no kickers. I mean, I can try to alter it so you can draft a defense just to keep on your bench, to keep you warm at night.
It might be better to play in the Superflex spot than some of the QBs that Townhouse has. So, just saying. I'm just messing with you, Townhouse, if you listen to this.
Interesting. Isaiah Spiller gets pulled up there because his ADP is still high. One of the big signings that I think happened that I don't know if we remember to talk about.
We have not talked about
going to the Chargers. It was already rumored that Spiller was behind Joshua Kelly on the depth chart. Now Sony Michel coming in. If nothing else, you'd figure Sony Michel is the battering ram in the goal line area if they're trying to save touches on Eckler. I think that spells a pretty tough rookie year for Isaiah Spiller.
What do I want to do here? Very intrigued in doing something that I don't want to do, but
take Jacoby Brissett.
No, I'm not taking Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, well,
I don't love it, but
how could you love it?
I debated on Trubisky and
well, so here's the other thing. I don't think I'm going to love my next pick either, but I just think I'm going to roll with it. As long as it doesn't go here in the next 4 picks. Maybe I wait. I don't know. This is very intriguing. I don't know what to do. I'm torn.
I don't know. I have been sniped about 4 times in this draft. And so
I know who I'm taking, and I feel like Matt is going to take them. So please don't. Mother! Not you, Matt. It was your friend, Matt. I wanted KJ Osborne. I didn't realize he was still available. I was almost cussing. You're muted, by the way, Matt.
Oh, I know. I was asking them because that just took him. He can hear you through my headphones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't realize he was available. I would have taken him over Trubisky. I was just now scrolling through because he's so far down on the wide receiver list. I had no idea he was still.
Well, and maybe Jalen Reagor is who you really want.
No,
keep that Jalen Reagor truther life alive. I took Isaiah Mckenzie down here because, I mentioned this before. I don't take a lot of stock out of reps or what they do in the preseason, but it was interesting to me that Buffalo, when they ran their starters out, Mckenzie was the starter at slot. I actually think he ends up as the 3rd wide receiver for them this year. So I figured 14th round, not a bad bet. Could be a high octane offense with Josh Allen.
Oh, God help me.
So
Still wide receiver 1 in New England.
No, Jacoby Myers is the wide receiver
Yeah.
1 in New
Jacoby
England.
Myers doesn't score.
But also, if Matt Patricia is fundamentally calling your offensive plays, doesn't matter if you have wide receivers.
So
look, it's the 15th round of, you know what, I'm looking for something. The guy I wanted was just taken. I got to pick somebody.
So I'm sitting here in the 15th, and I'm looking at Nico Collins, Alec Pierce, and Wan'Dale Robinson.
You know what? Lord help me, but I'm actually starting to think Wan'Dale Robinson's going to get featured in that offense because they have really nothing else to do.
That's kind of where I am. I get nervous about Daniel Jones. I like Alec.
Even
Pierce.
Daniel Jones's mother is nervous about Daniel Jones. You're right to be.
I like Pierce. There's talk about him being featured over Paris Campbell, so he would be second behind Pittman. But they're also going to run the ball a lot. Nico Collins. I guess the upside with Collins is that it is a team that's likely to be playing from behind, and he is going to be the number 2 there.
I like Wilson's late grabs at tight end, getting Cole Kmet, who I think has some upside in Chicago, given the dearth of wide receivers, and Gerald Everett, who could be sneaky fringe tight end 1 there with Justin Herbert.
Possibly. I like the Hayden Hurst pick, too.
Interesting for Bronemath gets Marlon Mack.
I auto-picked him.
He just messaged me that his daughters needed him. He's got young twin daughters. And so
I think he was autoed. That's who I thought about going on instead of Devontae Parker was Josh Palmer. You need a wide receiver to go down, which granted I guess is possible with Mike Williams' injury history, but I didn't want to take the chance.
And there, Tim Reeve, Coach Tim Reaver, who wrote with us at the Fantasy Life App blog. He is a big Titans fan. Interesting to see him snagging Malik Willis there at the end. I think he's big on the idea that Willis is going to see the field at some point this season.
No, I guess anything is possible. As Kevin Garnett would tell you. But
ask Kevin Durant too. I mean, anything's possible. Kevin Durant.
I feel like their goal is to sit Willis all year, though. I think, other than mop up duty, which
but here's
I don't
the thing,
know that there's going to be a lot of. I feel like it's going to be in Willis's best interest to not play.
I don't think any of us were particularly high on the Titans in general this season. So if they're sitting there at like 5-8. I guess there's a potential their division is competitive enough that they could still have an outside shot. But I'm wondering if when they get toward the end of the season, if they look like they're tracking to miss the playoffs, they don't see what they've got, because it has not felt like a great relationship between Ryan Tannehill and the team most of the offseason.
See, I think the issue with that is for fantasy, we always talk about that. We always say, like, oh, they should just play the young guys to see what they have in them. But NFL coaches don't feel that way. I've learned, and there's a lot of things that I've learned in paying attention to what the NFL does compared to what we think should go on in fantasy, that makes me realize, like, there's a big separator there. And I don't know that they would do that just because they're out of the, like, maybe the last game.
Dennis. We must be thinking alike.
I just feel, talk coming out of camp is that there's a clear separation between Wilson and TDP. And we've seen Wilson perform in that offense at a very high level. So I like Mitchell, but I think Wilson.
No, I literally had just moved Jeff Wilson to the queue on my phone. And then I was like, wait, why is my queue still empty?
Hey, Ricky's here.
Anyway,
Ricky, I hope you enjoy your nearly 100% Titan offense.
Back to the quarterback thing. We talked a lot about that, especially with a team like San Francisco now, or I'm sorry, it was Kansas City. Now, granted, they were in the playoff hunt, but like they had secured up their seed with like 2 or 3 games left to go a couple seasons ago, and they decided to only play Patrick Mahomes in the final game of the season. Like, I think even if Tennessee's eliminated, I don't know that we see him that early. I think maybe he gets a game or 2, and at that point, it doesn't matter for fantasy. But I could be wrong.
I had Moss queued up too.
Well, so I have Singletary. Moss is actually the guy that came in off the bench second over. Oh, look, Matt, you can no longer take Jacoby Brissett. I hate to.
I wasn't going to. I wasn't going to. I got Mitch. Got Mitchell biscuits. I'm good.
And you got David Bell, so now you have two rounds.
I'm grabbing another guy for good karma here. Probably not going to do anything for me, but boom, Paris Campbell.
Oh.
Here's hoping for the best. No, I don't. I do not think Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to be that good. I think people are overrating. I think he's a good wide receiver for the Browns, and I think he's more of a how do people word it again? It's a good NFL option, not good fantasy option. I don't think he's going to be some dude. I don't think he's going to be the Will Fuller in this offense that a lot of people think he's going to be. And again, yeah, it's not going to matter until Deshaun Watson comes back in week 11. Like, if I'm waiting till week 11 and hoping DPJ is going to hit for me, I'm probably not making the playoffs. So, and this is a redraft league, not dynasty. Now, I'm not worried about the future. I want to win this year. I think David Bell is going to be the guy that, honestly, Jacoby Brissett is checking down to more often than possibly David Njoku. So I've got both those guys that work in this short area where Jacoby Brissett thrives, and I just got to hope one of them hits.
Final round. So, taking any bets on who Mr. Irrelevant ends up being?
I don't know. I got to look at the cues. I'm just still debating. I can do
Who's the fifth string Broncos wide receiver?
I'm not the last pick.
Nobody matters.
Montreal Washington is who you're looking for.
No
you wouldn't think I knew who the fifth wide receiver
for
Denver is, but I watched those games.
I would.
No good running.
That's why I asked the question.
Do I want to get hurt again? That's the question.
Are you ready to get hurt again?
I think I am. Assuming this player makes it to me, I think I know who I'm going to take. I'm torn between two players. I actually wanted to, I'll just say it because I don't really care if they make it back to me. I was thinking about doubling up on QB back when I grabbed Mitch Trubisky.
Oh,
and just hoping one of them works for me.
Yeah, well, that's not a bad option for Superflex. We do have fairly deep benches considering.
Yeah, no kickers defense. Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter either. I mean, I'm looking at the available player pool. Like, I don't think many of these guys are going to be switched in and out throughout the season. Like, I'm sure someone will hit and people will go crazy for on the waiver wire to get, because that does happen every year. You're going to have a guy or two that just hits and makes the James Robinson a couple years ago. Who was it last year? I know there was somebody, and I can't think of off the top of my head.
Philip Lindsay the year before that.
Yeah, Lindsay. I mean, you always have somebody who hits, but
I hope Lindsay catches on with the team. I was kind of bummed he didn't make it with the Colts.
I think he's too close to win 99.
We're in range.
And that's why. Oh, man. Nobody picked him. Do I want to do this? Wait, why is it so far behind on yours? I'm up, right? I am.
Yeah, you're up. You're up on the screen, too.
I'm going to do it. Let me double check wide receiver really quick. I got 40 seconds. Okay. Yep, let's just do it. Bring me a playoff win, Kenyon Drake. I'm all here for it.
There you go, Dennis. That one's for you.
Right on.
I actually do like Montreal Washington. Sammy Watkins. Not a bad Mr. Relevant. Nobody knows who is actually going to be wide receiver for Green Bay aside from Allen Lazard. I took my shot with Dubs. Did Christian Watson end up going? Because he was
yes, he was at the top.
Last round though.
So what I don't, never mind. I did look at that subconsciously. I didn't even think about it. I love doubling. I love doing a stack of my quarterback and wide receivers, and I only did one of them. I didn't realize I did it in Marquise Hollywood Brown, but I'm a little disappointed I didn't grab Devonta Smith or AJ Brown for a stack with Jalen Hurts.
I got my stack too because I took Jerry Jeudy and I have Albert O.
Yeah. Well, I ended up I nailed the stack early with Cousins and Jefferson. Then I got sniped on Mooney, so I didn't stack anybody with Fields. And then I got sniped again on Khalil Herbert that I was aiming to stack with Fields. So late, I went with Geno Smith and stacked him with DK Metcalf. The more I've been thinking about it, the more I'm realizing that Seattle's probably going to be bad, and they're going to have to throw the ball. And you've got a little guy and you've got a big guy. I think at some point, the big guy's going to get a fair amount of work. Is Metcalf going to finish top 10? No, but I do think he's got wide receiver 2 upside, and most people have him in the wide receiver 3 territory right now. When I get DeAndre Hopkins back, I think that's going to really help my team. And then I'll be piecing it together early. I'll be able to use Julio Jones for the first few weeks while Hopkins is out. And then once he gets injured, Hopkins will be back. Wan'Dale Robinson, and then a couple. I kind of went rookie heavy at wide receiver with London, Pickens, and Robinson. Atlanta and New York are going to be playing from behind. So there is definitely an opportunity for production. In New York, the wide receiver 1 position is wide open. Galladay should be the guy, but he's been so inconsistent since his couple good years in Detroit. Who knows? Sterling Shepard's coming back, but he's not been consistently healthy. Kadarius Toney and Wan'Dale Robinson could be the top 2 guys for the Giants when it comes to the receiving game.
Yeah, I don't like my team at all.
I was going to ask you how you feel about your team. So you ended up with Hurts and Murray at the top. Then you get Swift, Keenan Allen, Ezekiel Elliott, Marquise Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Pat Freiermuth, Alan Lazard, Ramondre Stevenson. You get Tyler Algier, who you were holding out for, DJ Chark, Njoku, Mitch Trubisky, Devontae Parker, David Bell, Paris Campbell, and Kenyon Drake. That one kind of – I don't know if you would have been better going with Pickett.
Pickett was already gone. I was going Ritter was who I was debating on taking with the last pick between Ritter and Drake. No, so the reason I went with Drake is we've seen that Baltimore's not afraid to pass the ball to the running backs. It's just Mike Davis. Justice Hill ain't going to get anything. He lands with Baltimore. They wanted him. There was like the first team that reached out to him as soon as he got cut. I mean, even if he's only good for 2 weeks, that's fine. If he's good and then gets injured, I'll cut him and pick up somebody else off the waiver wire. I figured might as well take a shot on a guy who has a chance to get some receiving production. Again, last round pick, Desmond Ritter's still available. If I really don't like what Drake does in week 1, I can literally cut him and pick up Ritter. Yeah, I mean, it's okay, I guess. I mean, I do like the Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray stack right there. I mean, both have late buys. So I feel like for the most part, I'm going to have them all season long, as long as they're both healthy. Kyler Murray obviously getting injured worries me a little bit, but those are 2 at worst top 8 scoring quarterbacks. So like right there, I feel good going up against practically anybody, especially in the Superflex format. I mean, looking at the other teams, like really it's team 1 in Buffalo's with Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers. I think they're the only one going through really quick that has 2 top. Okay, whoever that is in the middle, Lamar Jackson and Stafford, that's a good stack as well. But like outside of those, everybody else has like one solid.
Brady should be both those.
Well, I don't have Brady rated that high, so remember we talked about this. I thought Brady was pretty. I had him outside my.
All right, Burrow Prescott is a decent stack.
It's decent. Dak Prescott, I don't think is going to put up anywhere close to what Murray and Hurts do most weeks, though. So that's where, especially because of the lack in rushing.
You're a little bit higher on Aaron Rodgers than Dennis and I were, because I didn't even have him finishing top 12.
I had him QB6.
Now I remember.
I'm very.
And you didn't have Brady finishing.
No, Brady was QB 14, I think, 13 or 14. He was just outside my top 12. So yeah, I mean, I feel good about going up that point. I think I'm fine. I mean, obviously the big thing's injuries, right? I think I'm fine for the most part at running back. I'm probably only going to start 2 every week. It's going to be Swift and Elliott. As long as both of them are healthy, Swift has a chance to be an RB1 every week. Elliott has a chance to be a high-end RB2. And then my wide receivers, Keenan Allen, I think, is a lock-in wide receiver 1 every single week. And then I've got a bunch of dart throws for guys who could be very good in Hollywood Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Alan Lazard, DJ Chark. Like, I just need to figure out how I'm going to play those 4 of my 3 wide receivers in a couple flex spots. And we'll see. Ramondre Stevenson, Tyler Algier, I think will be fine. It is what it is. Pat Freiermuth, I don't hate my team. I don't think it's a what's the word? I don't think it's a championship contender. I think it's a playoff team. Like, I think I'll get to the playoffs. I don't think that I'm a championship contender.
All you got to do is get in. Look at those Bengals last year. That's
true. Surprisingly, almost most of the fantasy championships I've won, I've sneaked in as like the 6th seed in the playoffs and just gone on that run. That gets very few of my best teams have I won a championship. There's one, my home dynasty league, where I've been like the number 1 seed all season long, and I've been to the playoffs 6 out of 8 years, but I've only won it twice, and it was like 4 years ago, and then I won it last year. So it's not always the best team wins it. That is for sure. What do you think about your team?
Yeah, well, so I was pretty, I was going to take a quarterback, so I obviously got Russ, and I think he's going to do well. I have him at QB9, so there are probably quarterbacks that went after me, like that I have ranked slightly ahead of him, but you got to go get your guy. I like my starting wide receivers, Chase, Pittman, and Judy, but after that, I'm going to need somebody to hit because Olave, I like the potential, but you don't know. Mckenzie, Dubs, Tolbert, Washington, all kind of potential guys for me. No matter who ends up being the lead running back in Denver, I'm covered because I ended up taking my personal favorite player, Melvin Gordon, down in there after I took Javonte, and I actually think Gordon will have flex value on his own. Devin Singletary, I think there's good potential for Gainwell, so I kind of like that. You guys know, and everybody else does from the discussion on the show, I'm a lot higher on Dalton Schultz than some other people. I like his potential to really go off in Dallas, so I thought that was a good grab for a PPR league. I'm kind of like
your boy Malibu Matt's team.
I really actually
when you critique his team. We know he's right there across the room from you.
He is right here in the room. I actually really like the start. I like Harris, and then the Cup and Adams are my top 2 wide receivers. Pitts. I don't think for waiting on quarterback, I don't think it ended up too bad because Ryan is going to be solid. I think Davis Mills has some upside, and Baker has some upside there. I really like Baker in week 1, especially after his intriguing comments about what he was going to do to the Browns. I'm pretty high on A.J. Dillon. I think I was higher than you guys are. And you got Gibson. Kenneth Walker is a question just because of his health and because of Pete Carroll. I don't know what to make about Claypool. It's really going to depend on how the passing situation develops in Pittsburgh, probably. He's more of their down the field threat. I worry for my Deontay Johnson shares too. But I think there's some upside. Obviously got Steele and KJ Osborne. You, Matt. I didn't realize he was so far down there.
So that's what I was going to say. I actually like his team in the fact of he got Matt Ryan, who I think, at least I expect to still be a top 12 scoring quarterback. Got him late, too. Paired with Kyle Pitts, it's pretty good. And you're pairing that with Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, really good, I think, running back core in Najee Harris. Antonio Gibson, A.J. Dillon, you're probably going to be fighting between which one you start there every week, depending on what happens with Gibson. The thing I like about Kenneth Walker is he's got the running back depth that he doesn't have to worry about playing Kenneth Walker right away. So if he is not starting right off the bat, he's got him. Where you mentioned Chase Claypool, I actually think it's going to be KJ Osborne's his wide receiver 3. And again, to get him in the 15th round, like I said, I didn't realize he was there either until I started scrolling. Like, oh my God, like that to me is probably the steal of the draft. Because I think with the way they're talking about passing the ball in Minnesota, he's got a shot to be a low-end wide receiver 2. And you got him in the 15th round.
And if Kenny Golladay can manage to get himself right, or they can figure out how to do any kind of decent pass offense in New York. I mean, we saw him. He's only a couple of years removed from being one of the receivers we love the best in Detroit. I find it hard to believe I don't think he died. I just think they didn't know what they were doing. And maybe they still don't know what they're doing, but I'm hoping the combination of Mike Kafka, who spent some time in the Chiefs system, and Brian Dable makes a more positive impact, at least for the fantasy game with the Giants.
I think for me, the biggest critique I have of Matt's team is if you take Kyle Pitts, I just don't think it feels like taking 2 more tight ends after that is wasting picks. At least one of those picks, I think, could have been another position, and maybe even both of them. Honestly, after I took Hunter Henry, I thought, Jesus, what am I doing? I have George Kittle. I didn't really need to take Hunter Henry. And, if I had Kelsey or Andrews, Pitts, I feel like those are guys in even in tight end premium. I don't know that you take a backup or especially a third tight end. Hey, let's talk about the 2 auto pick teams and kind of see.
Well, hang on, because there's one team that I think is the clear leader in the pack, and I'm pretty sure I know who this is. I feel like we're in a dynasty league together, and Bro Namath, is that who that is?
That is.
So I like his team. The more I was looking at it, and I just exited out.
And that was one of the auto pick teams.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only issue I see with it was the Marlon Mack pick. Everything else,
I saw that was. I don't think he was auto picked at the beginning. I know he was.
No, he was auto picked at the beginning.
Yeah, he was auto picked all the way.
Well, still, I mean, so he ended up with, in my opinion, just looking at the draft board. I can't get back into it now on my phone. I think that's the best team right now on paper. I mean, Lamar,
running back is tough, though.
Josh Jacobs, I think, is still. We talked about before. He always produces. So you're talking about you're good. But see, that's the thing too. 12 teams super flex with 3 wide receivers, 2 flex, but you're going to be weak somewhere, right? I think the position you want to be somewhat weak at is running back, and for him to end up with 3 possible high end wide receiver 2s or have a chance to score in wide receiver 1s and Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, and I can't see who the other ones are.
Jalen Waddle.
He's got Amari Cooper. He also has Tyler Lockett. He's got a really good wide receiver core paired with Matt Stafford, Lamar Jackson, and Travis Kelce. And then he adds Dawson Knox. Again, granted, congratulations on the auto pick team because that's a really good team. Marlon Mack, Isaiah Spiller being autoed for you are kind of wasted picks, but he also has Zamir White. So if Josh Jacobs does go down, now he's got Zamir White to plug right in. I actually think that's a really good team because he's got 2 top end quarterbacks. He's loaded at wide receiver. Josh Jacobs may not be a running back 1 for him. As long as he's a high end RB2, he's going to be in every single matchup.
Yeah, he's gonna need to probably make a trade for his RB2, unless something happens to Dalvin Cook and then Madison steps up.
I mean, Penny could hold that position at least for half the year.
Yeah, I mean he's got potential there.
You're the biggest Penny truther there is, so I would think you like it.
I'm not ready to get hurt again.
Matt is. He said he was ready to get hurt again.
I look at that end of last season, and I'm in, but I'm in at a price. And the way that was going, if Penny had made it back to me at the 10-8, I'd have probably taken him there as my RB4. I don't want Penny to be. I don't want to have to rely on Penny as one of my top 2 running backs.
Well, the other auto team is our friend Ricky, who popped up at the end. I think he would have been happy with Joe Burrow. Dak's a decent pick. Breece Hall, a lot of Titan offense in there, pretty heavily invested with Derrick Henry, and then you Higgins and Mooney are pretty good starters. Michael Thomas should be okay, but then Burks and Woods. Be curious to see what the split is. I am with you. I think Woods ends up being the better. A lot of Kansas City offense in there too. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Ronald Jones, and Sky Moore all end up on the squad.
Yeah, I imagine he's going to be trying to trade Burks or Woods, right from the get-go, just to clear some of the. I just don't think that team is going to be able to support both of them at a very high level, and so he's going to want to be clear in that.
Too bad he didn't get Austin Hooper, because then you could have had the trifecta.
Right.
Well, I'm excited for the season. I know, Dennis, you said you still have 2 more drafts this week. You're really getting it in under the wire.
Well, I decided I saw last night there was a Roto Baller Challenge draft over on Flea Flicker, and so I hopped in that. I'm drafting at 10 o'clock tomorrow night, and then the third Mike over on Twitter, Mike Talanko, who I'm in a local league here with. He runs a charity league called the Giving League in honor of one of his friends who was a victim of domestic violence. And so I've been playing in that league for several years now. And the draft for that is 8:30 on Wednesday. So between my son's
Really,
baseball, yeah. So it's between my son's baseball and those 2 drafts, I've got a pretty full couple days.
Well, this is my last draft for the year. I feel like it's pretty successful. How about you, Matt? You have any more teed up?
Nope, this was the final one. I do not have any others.
And now we just have 3 short sleeps until the 2022. And I can't believe I said it that way. The 2022 NFL season is finally upon us. You guys have anything else to add?
Rate and review. Go rate and review. It does a body good.
And so Matt and I will be back, and hopefully Dennis will be leaving us our picks. We will have our playoff picks for the year. We would not leave you without that. And Matt and I will get ready for what I am hoping is going to be an offensive shootout between the 2022 Super Bowl favorite Buffalo Bills and the 2021 Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams.